everyone, it's Jack from Cultaholic.com, your reigning and defending Cultaholic heavyweight champion after a very nervy draw in the last predictions contest for Clash of Champions. The belt is still in the office. I can't retrieve it due to lockdown restrictions in the northeast of England. I feel like a paper champion and I'm livid, to be honest with you. However, I don't have the belt with me, but I've got some brand new Cultaholic merch. If I just turn around, oh, there we go. So cultaholic.com/shop. No, no, hang on. It's cultaholicshop.com. Cultaholicshop.com. But now on to more pressing issues, because of course it's time for NXT TakeOver 31, which takes place this weekend. And of course I'm once again joined by just a rabble of challengers hoping to take that title from me. So I guess we better get into some predictions. On to the first one. First of all, it's Kushida versus Velveteen Dream. I don't think it's a match that anybody's looking forward to. It's quite awkward. And unfortunately as well, I'm going to predict Velveteen Dream. I think that WWE are going to give him the win. It's been a while since he's had a big win, I think. And I think they'll want to, you know, push him back up the card again if they can. They've never really shown an interest in pushing Kushida, have they? And I think that Kushida's gotten the better of this feud on TV so far. So it's probably time for Velveteen Dream to get, you know, to get a big win. And it's going to be oh, so awkward.
They're pushing this whole thing with Kushida, where he's got this new intensity to him. I'm not 100% sold on the intense side of Kushida just now, but I kind of like where it's going, and I hope that he grows into that role a little bit more. That's why I want to pick Kushida to pick the win over this one. I think it's a high-profile victory for him in this match. So big submission win with the hoverboard. Maybe keep it on just a little bit too long again like you've done before. The nod for me is to Kushida.
Taking Kushida here, he's had a rough old time of it in NXT, and a lot of that is down to injury, of course, but he's never really felt like the big deal that he should. And this new, more aggressive Kushida, it feels like he's very much at a turning point in his NXT career. So he could do with the win, and that's exactly what he's going to get.
For this one, I'm going to go for Kushida. I just think it's about time that we all got on board with him and allowed him to be the beast that we know that he can be. We've seen it before elsewhere. We know that he can really dial it up when it comes to it. I think a Kushida that's like a bit more switched on with the NXT brass behind him, a little bit more aggressive, I think that'd just be perfect. We've seen a little bit of that coming out as late, but really I think now is the time to really start doubling down on him. We haven't really done much with him since he was signed.
Next up, we have Santos Escobar versus Isaiah Swerve Scott. I'll never do that again. For the Cruiserweight Championship. For this one, I'm going to go for Santos Escobar. I think that his boys might get involved to help him retain that title. I just feel like this has not been as fully explored a Cruiserweight Championship reign as it potentially could be. And I think that NXT realised that, and I don't think they'll take that belt off him yet. I think they'll probably want to try and do slightly more creative stuff with him going forwards. And as good as Isaiah Swerve Scott is, I don't think he's going to be the guy to take this title from Santos Escobar. It could be even, the answer could even be, you know, the man I think is going to lose the opening match, Kushida. But there's various different potential challengers to that title who I think have a better chance of beating Escobar than Swerve Scott does. So unfortunately for him, I'm going for Santos Escobar to retain.
Isaiah Swerve Scott has been very confident about his chances here. He's the only guy that's pinned Santos Escobar in his time as NXT Cruiserweight Champion. So there's legit beef going into this one that Swerve is going to get the win. And I feel like if he doesn't beat Escobar here, then you kind of run the risk of jumping the gun or jumping the shark on Swerve Scott, because this will be like his second chance at it. So I feel like Isaiah Swerve Scott is going to win this one. I think Santos will end up with it back at some point very soon, but I think Isaiah Swerve Scott is winning the Cruiserweight title on Sunday. Yeah, that's what I think.
I actually think this is perhaps the toughest match on the card to predict. I think it's a bit of a coin toss, if I'm honest. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Heads, it's Swerve. Tails, it's Escobar.
Oh, bollocks.
Escobar, I think.
Really tough one to call here, but I'm going to go for Escobar. Guy's had a really good run of it so far, time-wise, and while I think that Swerve would make an excellent champion, he'd be more than competent pair of hands to hold the belt, I just think there's too much going on with Escobar at the minute. Oh, and let's not forget the lads that he's got in his pocket, so he's probably not going to win cleanly, but he's going to walk out of that building with the belt.
Next up, the North American title match between the champion Damian Priest and the challenger, and one of the most decorated wrestlers in NXT history, really, Johnny Gargano. And for that reason, I'm going for Damian Priest, because I don't think that they need to give Johnny Gargano another North American title reign. I think the Priest needs this reign to continue, because he's not held the belt for that long, really. And that's what I think is going to happen. I think Priest is gradually worming his slimy way into the hearts of the NXT fans, whereas Gargano has been out of favour for quite a while now, which I think may have been the reason they were forced to turn him heel all those months ago anyway. So yeah, I'm going to go for Damian Priest to pick up the win here. Keep a hold of that title, and we'll see who challenges him in the future. Unlucky Jonathan, but things might go better for your wife later on in the night. Or earlier on, if the card is in a different order to these predictions that we're doing, which, let's face it, is probably the case.
Damian Priest is growing into this role as a top guy on NXT, and I feel like he's more comfortable in his own skin here. The Garganos pursuing gold within NXT, I think, is a really great story underneath that as well. I don't think it's happening for Johnny Gargano tonight, though, or on Sunday, rather. I feel like Damian Priest has still lots to do as the North American champion. I feel like it's a great win for him. Gargano doesn't lose anything by losing. It just continues to firm the legacy up of Damian Priest. So I'm picking Priest to retain the title at TakeOver.
Priest needs this win a lot more than Gargano, that's for sure. And the fact that the heels stood tall, not just stood tall, but posed with the bloody belts at the end of last night's NXT means, well, that's a wrestling trope. It means they're definitely not winning. But Big Daddy Trips, he's a smart man. What if he wants us to think that, and then the Garganos go and bloody do it? Paul, you bastard. I'm sticking with Priest.
I'm going to go for Priest in this one. We're just starting to see him flourish, really, as a character, and a big part of that has been the title win. I think that this is on course to continue, and I don't really think that Johnny needs the belt to get over, and I don't think the belt really needs Johnny at the minute. I do have an idea about how we progress things a little bit further forward, but you just have to wait a little bit to find out what I mean.
Now the NXT Women's title match between Io Shirai and her challenger Candice LeRae. And as I alluded to very cleverly earlier on, I think that one of Mr. and Mrs. Gargano will be leaving NXT with gold around their waist. I don't think it'll be Jonathan. I think it's going to be Candice. I'm predicting Candice to beat Io Shirai and take her title. I would have been so certain of this pick had we not received the very sad news from Triple H that Tegan Nox is once again injured. Massive condolences to her. She's had problems with injuries since really arriving in NXT. Even before that, when she was in the Mae Young Classic. I really hope that she can battle back from this and carry on, because she's really good. And what I thought was going to happen was that Candice LeRae was going to beat Io Shirai, transition into a title feud with Tegan Nox, and then eventually Nox would beat Candice and become NXT Women's Champion. Unfortunately, now that can't happen, obviously, but I still think Candice is going to win. I don't think they're going to change plans just because of Tegan's injury. I think Candice will still win the belt, but will then go on to feud with babyfaces like Shotzi Blackheart, for example. I don't know when she'll lose the title, but I am pretty confident that she's going to win it here at NXT TakeOver 31.
I love the idea of, at some point, the Garganos holding the gold, with Johnny with the North American title, the NXT title over his shoulder, and Candice with the women's title over hers. I don't think that's happening now, though. I feel like it's going to be one of those nights where Johnny and Candice have just been braggadocious for weeks on end, but it's all going to come back to haunt them, and they're going to end up on the receiving end. So Priest is winning the North American title, as I discussed, and Io Shirai is going to retain her Women's Championship here as well.
Right, so given my last prediction and the fact that Candice stood tall with the NXT Women's title means that I should be picking Io for this one. And that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm taking Io for this one for the aforementioned reasons. It's a bit of a shame, actually, because I don't think Io's reign has been particularly brilliant or anything, and personally, I would rather see Candice with the belt. Wouldn't you, Roman? Yes, I would, Adam! But I'm going to take Io because life isn't fair, and nor is wrestling. But I do I do hope that Candice, I do hope her time comes. She deserves it.
Now, I really couldn't decide in this one, but I'm going to go for Io. While a big part of me thinks that the time is right for Candice and this would be great moving forward, part of me thinks that if both Garganos fail to capture gold tonight, they're going to come back so much more hungry, they're going to come back so much more angry, and it's going to lead to such amazing matches. I think Io's got a couple more stories left in her as champion, and yes, as I said, I think that Candice is going to make an exceptional champion, and she will be champion soon. It's just not on the cards tonight.
And finally, the main event and the NXT match that I think I'm most invested in for a long, long time. I've not been this invested in an NXT match for ages. It's the NXT title match between Finn Bálor and Kyle O'Reilly. And if Kyle O'Reilly doesn't win, I'm going to be a very, very sad boy indeed. He deserves it so much. He's been a shining light of NXT since the Undisputed Era arrived. He's so good at the little things. He's so good at being funny. He can be serious if he wants to. He's a real all-rounder in the ring. He can wrestle in a variety of different ways. He's awesome, and I want him to become champion. I also think it would be very interesting if he did. It would perhaps cause jealousy between himself and Adam Cole and the rest of the era. I'm predicting Finn Bálor anyway. I just don't think they're going to take the belt off him at this stage, but I would love it if Kyle O'Reilly beat him. Love it. I'm going for Finn Bálor.
I've really struggled with this one. I've gone back and forth on this one, and I think I'm going to pick Finn Bálor to retain, but it's going to be close. It's going to be very close. I think Kyle O'Reilly will come within like that much of actually doing it. I think here we will see seeds planted for the Undisputed Era Civil War that is coming. And I feel like that will probably lead to Kyle O'Reilly not quite making it on this time round. So whilst I think Kyle will come close, I feel like Finn Bálor is retaining the NXT Championship at TakeOver.
Nobody thinks Kyle O'Reilly is winning this one, and nor do I. It's a bit of a shame in some ways because Kyle O'Reilly is great value. I can't think of many other wrestlers who are as consistently entertaining to watch as Kyle O'Reilly, and I truly think that he could be positioned, and this might be where they're going, as one of the top babyfaces in NXT, if not the top babyface. But I don't think his time is on Sunday. Hopefully he gets another shot down the line because he's so bloody good. But Finn, he's got the name value and Wednesday Night Wars and all that good stuff. Means they're probably going to want to keep Finn as champion. So taking Finn.
And finally, I'm going to take Bálor in this one, unfortunately. I love Kyle O'Reilly at pieces, and while he is an asset to any promotion that he works for, it's got to be Finn, surely, right? It's going to be a hell of a match, that's for sure. We don't have to worry about match quality, and I think that the end is going to factor into some storylines moving forward, but Finn Bálor to take this one all day to the bank.
So thanks very much for watching this video. That is it for our NXT TakeOver 31 predictions. Support me to win, obviously. I think that would be the best case scenario if I were to win and my glorious reign were to continue. Look out for all of our NXT TakeOver content over this weekend. Adam Pacitti will be doing a live stream, of course, as the event is going on. So interact with him, call him names, all that sort of thing. And stay safe out there, stay positive, and I'll see you very soon.